Hello everyone, welcome to Pinyin Lessons. I'm Sophie. Starting from this lesson, we'll learn everything we need to know about Chinese pinyin system. We'll be talking about finals, initials, zero initials, and tones. By the time we finish our pinyin lessons, you'll be able to pronounce all the pinyin syllables. When watching the video lessons, be sure to listen carefully and practice the pronunciations. I recommend that you record yourself pronouncing the syllables and compare it with my pronunciation. This is an excellent way to perfect your pronunciation. When you listen to yourself recorded, you'll be able to hear it from a more objective view. And remember, before we finish each video lesson, there's going to be a quick listening test to see if you remember what those syllables sound like. So today, in our first lesson, we'll get a general idea of what the Chinese pinyin system is like and learn to pronounce the vowels. Let's get started. So, what's Pinyin? Pinyin is the phonetic system of Chinese language. And the writing system of Chinese language is Hanzi, Chinese characters. On the right side, you can see an example. Hello in Chinese is 你好. On the top of Chinese characters is Chinese pinyin syllable. For each character has a sound, means has one Chinese pinyin syllable. And what does pinyin composed of? Let's take 你 for example. So the first letter N is the initial. The letter I is the final. And on the top of I, there's a V-shaped mark, is the tone. Here, we use the third tone. And there are three tones in Chinese pinyin. The first tone, the second tone, the third tone, and the fourth tone. So, same in Hao, we have the initial is H, and the final is AO, Ao, and the tone mark, the third tone mark. So one pinyin syllable has one initial, one final, and one tone mark. But remember I said earlier, there's also zero initials, so we don't use any initials in the pinyin syllable. Only one final and a tone mark. We'll talk about that later in the class. So why do we have to learn Pinyin? Pinyin is similar to English IPA. All native Chinese speakers know Pinyin. It's the first thing Chinese students learn at school before learning characters. Pinyin is a great tool to help us remember how each character is pronounced. And if you don't know how to write a character, but you do know how to say it, you can just write Pinyin instead. And it can be used to type characters on your laptop and your phone. So let's take a look at the finals in Pinyin. There are 4 groups and 36 finals totally. The first group is simple finals. There are 6 of them. They are A, O, E, I, U, Yu. And the second group, the compound finals. There are 13 of them. They are I, A, Ao, O, Ya, Ye, Wa, Wo, Yue, Yao, You, Y, Wei. U is written as IU for short, and Wei is written as UI for short. The third group is nasal finals. There are 16 of them. They are An, En, Yin, Yun, Yan, Yuan, Wan, Wen, Ang, Ong, Yang, Ong, Yang, Yong, Wang, Weng. And the last group is special final. There's only one of it. So this might look like a lot to you, but trust me, you've already known how to pronounce most of them in English, and those sounds are quite similar to Pinyin. So let's take a look at them one by one, starting from the simple finals. You're probably already familiar with the letters, but be careful not to pronounce them the same way that you would pronounce them in English or in your own native language. And we will use the first tone to practice saying all Pinyin all the time. So the first one, ah, read after me, ah, ah, ah. When you pronounce ah, open your mouth naturally and relax your jaw. Kind of like when you're at the doctor's and he makes you say ah, and also place your tongue flat and low. Read it one more time. Ah, ah. Next one. Oh, oh. This sound is similar to a W in the word law. But remember, your lips are round when you pronounce it. Your tongue is pulled back and raised up. So read it after me. Oh, oh, oh. Well done. Let's take a look at next one. Do you still remember how to pronounce oh? Your tongue is pulled back and raised up. Hold your tongue position and relax your lips and spread them as if you're going to smile. Both O and are pronounced with your tongue at the medium height and pulled back. So read after me. O, o, This sound is more like IR in st. Great. Now, let's take a look at the next one. E. This one is similar to how you would say the letter E in English or EA in P, only with the tongue raised higher. So first start with the lips flat and tighten the two corners of your mouth almost like a smile and push the tip of your tongue against the back of your lower front teeth. So read it after me. E, E, E. Good job. Next one, oo. It sounds like the OO when you say food, but in Pinyin, oo's lips shape is round with just a small opening to let the air out. Also, when you say oo, your tongue shouldn't be touching your teeth at all. Remember how you pronounce O with a round mouth, tongue up and pulled back. Let's start from there. Make your mouth shape even smaller and pull your tongue even more to the back. Let's give it a try. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Well done. The last one is oo. This one might be a little bit difficult, but let's start from E. Remember how we pronounce E? The tip of your tongue pushing the back of your lower front teeth, and your lips are flat. So we start from there. Hold every position there except tighten your lips and make a fish mouth, like in the picture, kind of like you're whistling. Hold your tongue position the whole time you're pronouncing it, and don't relax it until you completely finish pronouncing the sound. So let's give it a try. E, oo, E, oo, E, oo. Remember to hold your tongue position long enough until you fully pronounce the sound. Oo, oo. Let's take a look at compound finals. In each compound final, there's one main vowel and one or two secondary vowels. Since we've learned the 6 simple finals, it will be much easier to learn the compound ones. All you have to do is to glide your tongue from one simple vowel to another. The main vowels are more stressed than the others. The secondary vowels are very soft and brief. And remember, we're using the first tone to practice these vowels. But some sounds in the compound finals will be different from the simple finals. So try to remember them as new sounds. There are 13 of them. They are I, A, ow, o, ya, ye, wa, wo, yue, yao, you, why, wei. Let's take a look at them one by one. The first one, read after me. I. The sound is similar to the English word I. Practice it again. I. Remember at the beginning I told you there are also 0 initial syllables, right? So this one can be a syllable on its own without putting any consonants in front. For example, I means love. My means buy. A. This sound is similar to A in late. So let's practice it together. A. For example, 累, tired. 给 means give. Good. The third one, ow. This sound is similar to OU in loud. Read it after me. Ow. It can be a syllable on its own too. For example, 好 means coat. 好 means good. O is similar to OW in low. Read it after me. O. It can be a syllable on its own. For example, Zhou means Europe. Gou means dog. Well done. The next 4. Ya. This sound is similar to YA in yacht. Read it after me. Ya. So when it's a syllable on its own, we write it as YA, not IA. For example, 牙 means tooth. 虾 means shrimp. Yeah. This sound is similar to yeah. When it's a syllable on its own, we write it as YE. So read it after me. Yeah. For example, 也 means to. 贴 means to stick. 挖 When it's a syllable on its own, we write it as WA, not UA. For example, 挖 means to dig. 花 means flower. 窝 is similar to the sound in work. Read it after me. 窝 So all here is more like a sound. 窝 When it's a syllable on its own, we write it as WO. For example, 我 means I or me. 火 means fire. Well done. The next 4. 约 remember how we pronounce yu, and we add another sound behind. So it becomes yue, yue. When it's a syllable on its own, we write it as yue. For example, 月 means month, 学 means learn. Here, yu loses its two dots on the top. The next one, yao, yao, yao. When it's a syllable on its own, we write it as yao. For example, yao means want, 跳 means to jump. Y. This sound is similar to the word why. Read it after me. Why, why, why. When it's a syllable on its own, we write it as wai. For example, 外面 means outside. 快 means fast. You. This sound is similar to you or you. It's pronounced as iou, but it's written as iu. So read it after me. You. For example, 六 6 牛 ox or cow. The last one, wei, is pronounced as way, so read it after me. Way, but it's written as ui. When it's a syllable on its own, we write it as wei. For example, 会 means can, 对 means right or correct. Don't confuse you and way together. For you, I is in the front. For way, you is in the front. Let's take a look at the next group, nasal finals. There are 16 of them. They are an, yin, yun, yan, yuan, wan, wen, ang, ying, ong, yang, yong, wang, wong. Wen is written as un for short. For each nasal final, there is one simple final plus one nasal consonant. And there are two nasal consonants, n and ng. The sound of these two nasal consonants are similar to the ones in English. For n, is similar to the sound Remember to put the tip of your tongue against the gums of your upper front teeth. And for remember to pull the back of your tongue back as much as possible. The first one, read it after me. An. It can be a syllable on its own. For example, 安全 means safe. 蓝 means blue. The next one, read it after me. Remember the 6 simple finals? This one is when we pronounce it with we put them together as It can be a syllable on its own too. For example, 恩人 means benefactor. 很 means very. Read it after me. Yin. When it's a syllable on its own, we write it as yin, but it doesn't change the pronunciation. We just write it in a different way. For example, 因为 means because. Pinyin is what we are learning now, right? Number 4, 晕晕晕. We write it as yun when it's on its own. For example, 云 means cloud. 裙子 means dress or skirt. Number 5, yen. Read it after me. Yen, yen, yen. We write it as yan when it's on its own. For example, 燕子 means swallow. 现在 means now. Number 6, wen, wen. Remember, it is pronounced as wen, not yun, okay? This one is wen, wen. When it's on its own, we write it as wen. For example, 村子 means village. 问 means to ask. Next one, 冤, yuan, yuan. When it's on its own, we write it as yuna, yuan. For example, 原因 means reason. 选择 means choose or choice. The next one, one. Read it after me. One, one, one. Remember, the first sound is oo, like food, but your lips should be rounder. Ooh, one, one. So when it's on its own, we write it as wan. For example, 晚 means late. 软 means soft. The next one will be on. The next one will be on. Remember how we pronounce ng in English? Hold your tongue back as much as possible. On is pronounced similar to on in English. Lollipop in Chinese is 棒 糖. The next one will be on. Remember, the vowel is right? Say it with together. On. For example, 能 means can or be able to. 疼 means ache or sore. The next one, ing, is pronounced as 应. When it's a syllable on its own, we write it as ying. It doesn't change how we pronounce it. It just changed the way we write it. For example, 赢 means to win. 生病 means sick. On. This sound is similar to ong in long, but your mouth shape should be rounder. One more time. On. Well done. Red in Chinese is 红. From in Chinese is 从. Iang is pronounced as yang. When it's a syllable on its own, we write it as yang. For example, 样子 means appearance. 像 means like or such as or seem. Next one, iong. 用. When it's a syllable on its own, we write it as yong. For example, 用 means to use. 熊猫 means panda. 汪. Read it after me. 汪. When it's a syllable on its own, we write it as wang. For example, Wang, king. or it's a very common surname. Huang means yellow. Weng, Weng. You can see the first vowel is wu, so remember to put your mouth rounder when you pronounce it. Weng, Weng, Weng. It can't be paired with any other initials, so the only pinyin you need to remember is W-E-N-G. This is how we write it. So for example, Weng is a very common surname in China. The last one, special final. We only have one. This sound is similar to the ER sound in writer in American English, but it's longer. So raise your tongue a little higher and hold the position. So remember to pronounce it a little bit longer. For example, 儿子 means son. 二 means two. Good job. The last part will be zero initial syllables. As I've mentioned earlier, a zero initial is when a pinyin syllable is made up of a final and a tone without an initial. There are 4 situations based on how you write the syllable when there's no initial. For all the zero syllables in the pinyin system, all we have to remember is the spelling rule when we write or type them, but the way to pronounce them remains the same. Number 1. Don't have to write any initial. When there's no initial, that means the syllable starts with one of the following vowels, because all the finals in the pinyin system start with these 6 vowels. So when the syllable starts with A, O, E in pinyin, which are A, O, we'll just write the syllable as it is. For example, ao, an, a, on, I, a, o. All of these finals, you don't have to add any initials. Number 2, write W as a formal initial. We pronounce W as U. So when the zero initial syllable starts with the vowel U, we write W as a formal initial, which is not a real initial. For Wa, Wo, Wai, Wan, Wang, Weng, they will become Wa, Wo, Wai, Wan, Wang, Weng, and Wu, Wei, Wen. We'll write them as W-U, U, W-E-I, Wei, and W-E-N, Weng. Rule number 3, write Y as a formal initial for E. When the zero initial syllable starts with the vowel E, we write Y as a formal initial. So for Ya, Ye, Yao, Yan, Yang, Yong, we'll make them YA, YE, YAO, YAN, YANG, YONG. And for E, Yin, Yung, and You, we will just write or type them as YI, YIN, YING, or YOU. Number 4, write Y as a formal initial for U. When the zero initial syllable starts with the vowel U, we write Y as a formal initial as well. There are only 4 of them: Yu, Yue, Yun, Yuan. For all of them, we'll add Y at the beginning of the syllable and drop the 2 dots. So we will have YU, YUE, yuan, yun. Remember, zero initial syllables. It only affects the way we write them or type them, but the way to pronounce them remains the same. Now it's time for the listening test. Choose the sound you hear. Uh, uh, uh. Ü, ü, ü. O, o, o. U, u, u. O, o, o. When, when, when. Young, young, young. Yong, yong, yong. That's all for today. Did you get them all correctly? I'll see you all in the next lesson. Bye bye.